How did one man, standing barely 5 feet 6 inches, manage to bring Europe to its knees? This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, a leader who reshaped the continent with a combination of sheer willpower, brilliant strategies, and relentless ambition. His rise to power wasn't just about winning battles, it was about rewriting the rules of warfare and using the chaos of the French Revolution to his advantage. Napoleon's military genius allowed him to outmaneuver armies that were often larger and better equipped. From the rolling hills of Austerlitz to the deserts of Egypt, he transformed the battlefield into a stage for his daring tactics. At the height of his power, his empire stretched from Spain to Poland, and his influence even reached beyond Europe. But what set him apart wasn't just his victories. It was the speed and precision of his campaigns, the way he could adapt to any situation, and the loyalty he inspired in his troops. And while his rise was meteoric, so too was his downfall, leaving a legacy that is still debated today. What made Napoleon such a powerful force? Let's dive into the mind of one of history's greatest tacticians. A rise from obscurity. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 on the small island of Corsica, far from Europe's power centers. Coming from a modest family, he had little more than a noble name. Yet from a young age, he dreamed big. At just 9, he earned a scholarship to a military academy in France, where he excelled in subjects like mathematics and artillery, skills that laid the groundwork for his military genius. During the French Revolution, opportunities arose for ambitious young officers. Napoleon seized his chance, using his artillery expertise to lift the siege of Toulon in 1793, which earned him a promotion and national recognition. His rise through the military ranks was swift. Napoleon learned early on that warfare relied not just on numbers, but also on terrain, surprise, and troop morale. These lessons shaped his unique approach to combat and set him on a path to alter the course of European history. The master of strategy. What made Napoleon unstoppable? Napoleon Bonaparte's success on the battlefield stemmed from one key factor: strategy. He revolutionized military tactics with la manœuvre sur les derrières, focusing on maneuvers behind enemy lines. Instead of engaging opponents head-on, he targeted their flanks and encircled them, cutting off supplies and communication. This left larger armies disoriented and vulnerable. His approach emphasized speed, surprise, and adaptability, allowing him to move entire armies faster than expected and strike when his enemies were least prepared. A prime example of his brilliance is the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, known as the Battle of the Three Emperors. Facing a combined Russian and Austrian force, Napoleon feigned weakness, drawing them into a trap. As they advanced, he quickly attacked their flanks, overwhelming them and defeating a numerically superior army. This ability to outthink and outmaneuver opponents made Napoleon appear unstoppable, instilling fear in his enemies and earning their respect. The downfall. What went wrong? Napoleon's rise came crashing down with the ill-fated invasion of Russia in 1812. Aiming to force Tsar Alexander I into an alliance by capturing Moscow, he underestimated both the vastness of Russia and its brutal winters. Leading over 600,000 men, the largest army in Europe, Napoleon faced a strategic retreat by the Russians, who used a scorched earth policy to destroy resources. When he reached Moscow, he found it abandoned and in flames, leaving his troops without supplies. As the harsh winter set in, unprepared for the freezing conditions, Napoleon's army suffered immense losses from starvation, disease, and relentless attacks. By the time they retreated, fewer than 100,000 soldiers remained. This catastrophic failure shattered Napoleon's image of invincibility. European powers united against him, leading to his abdication in 1814 and exile to Elba. What began as an ambitious campaign ended in disaster, marking the beginning of the end for the emperor. Turn and final defeat. The 100 Days. Napoleon's story didn't end with his first exile. In 1815, he made a daring escape from Elba and returned to France to reclaim his throne. This period, known as the 100 Days, marked his comeback as he quickly gathered support from former soldiers and loyal followers. Within weeks, he marched into Paris, forcing King Louis XVIII to flee. However, the Allied powers were determined to stop him for good. His final stand came at the Battle of Waterloo, where he faced a combined British and Prussian army. Despite being a brilliant tactician, Napoleon made critical errors. He underestimated the British forces under the Duke of Wellington and delayed his attacks, allowing the Prussians to regroup. As the Prussian forces joined the battle, the tide turned against him. His army, unable to withstand the pressure from both sides, crumbled. By the end of the day, his dream of reclaiming Europe was shattered. Captured once more, Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena, where he would spend the rest of his days. The 100 Days were a brief flash of hope for the fallen emperor, but they ended in a decisive defeat. Napoleon's legacy: genius or tyrant? Napoleon's legacy is as complex as the man himself. He left an indelible mark on Europe, not just through his conquests, but also through the reforms he implemented. The Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive set of laws he established, still influences legal systems around the world today. His administrative changes brought efficiency and modernization to many parts of Europe, laying the groundwork for modern state institutions. Napoleon's military strategies, too, became the blueprint for warfare, studied in military academies for their innovation in maneuvering and organization. Yet, his ambition also brought suffering, countless lives lost in his relentless wars, and entire nations reshaped to serve his vision of empire. Napoleon may have lost the battle, but he forever changed the course of history. Was he a brilliant strategist who sought to modernize Europe, or a conqueror who overreached and paid the price? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Was Napoleon a genius, or just a man who aimed too high? And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating stories from the past.